Do you ever feel like the right business or work routine would make everything all better? If so, this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Dream Life Season Show. I'm Kimberly Cox, your host, and I am so excited to be here. I am going to take that out of my ear real fast because it is weird and I can hear myself. So we're just going to roll with this. And hopefully we have some good sound on this. I have my new mic. And we're just gonna roll with things. So today we're talking about work routines. Of course, why not when I change up routines with work, right? But how sometimes the perfect routine, the way that you do things, the way you incorporate other things in your business can help everything run smooth. Let's get started on your fantastic 15. Okay, so today for gratitude, we're talking about the things that make work easy, okay? And this can be in a lot of different areas, right? Because sometimes things that make like work easy are, the simple things like having your schedule, knowing what you're supposed to do today, making sure you can get all the things checked off your list that you need to, having time to stop and take care of yourself, have lunch, the bathroom when you need to. That's kind of a big thing. So today we're talking about all those things, but what are we grateful for when it comes to business? What is easy? What makes life better? So for me personally, a lot of the things that make life easier when it comes to business is knowing what I'm doing, right? Having a plan, setting out the day, knowing I have to get these videos done or I have to do this thing. And if I do these things, then I'm successful, right? So that is one thing. Another thing that makes it easier is when I have support from other people. When other people understand when I have to stop and do something for work. When other people understand that what I'm doing, I'm not doing just for fun. I mean, I would do it just for fun, but I'm not doing it just for fun. I am doing this because I genuinely love our community. I genuinely want to help everybody. So that is where I am coming from with that. So what are some things in your business, maybe it's volunteering, maybe it's your actual job. What are some things that make life easier, that make business feel easier? Drop those in the comments. We're going to go to our grounding video and then we will come back for inspiration in just a minute. All right, welcome back. We are talking about focusing on what works, okay? This can be kind of challenging sometimes, right? Because we can feel like, I don't know what works. I don't want to try a bunch of stuff and then it doesn't work. Like, I just want to do the thing that works, do it, get it done, know off the bat what that's supposed to be. And that's just not real life. Real life is trial and error. Real life is going until we figure it out. Real life is we're going to do this for a certain amount of time and then we're going to switch and we're going to do something else. So because that is what real life is, what are some things that you are currently in the moment thinking like, I don't know if I should change this. I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel maybe like I need to lean into this. Let me know. Drop that in the comments. Tell me where you are questioning. I won't say struggling. I'll say questioning. Where are you questioning in your business? All right. So some of the time we have to get to a place where we have to just kind of roll with it. This is an idea that I have. I think that it might work. I'm going to give it, maybe we say you're going to give it 3 weeks. And if it doesn't work in 3 weeks, we can tweak it for another 3 weeks. And then if it doesn't work in 6 weeks, then maybe we'll just put that to the back of the pile, right? And try something else. I think a lot of times it takes us time to get, and especially depending on what you're doing, how long you're doing it, if you're doing a video every day or close to a video every day, then within 3 weeks you should start to see something. You should have some kind of, like pick up some kind of whatever. If, however, you're not doing a video every day, if you're doing like 2 videos a week or 1 video a week, then, 2 weeks or 3 weeks is not a lot of time to test that out. So the more you do the thing, the faster you can get through the trials, but also, I'm gonna move this a little bit, but also within all of that, we have to realize that there is a space where we need to You can't just do a whole bunch, throw a whole bunch of stuff at the wall, hoping that it sticks, and it's not the highest quality, the best, if you don't have tags, if you don't have a good title on a video, if you're putting posts out there, but you're not really having a call to action, there's really nothing for anybody to do, and they're just kind of like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this information, you're not giving it its fair shot. So you have to have all of those things in there in order to know what it is, what is supposed to happen, you have to have like the goal, right? Like this is what we're doing, this is the goal of it, this is how we're measuring it, and then those have to have like a certain length of time, right? So I say like 3 weeks and then tweak, but I'm also doing 5 videos every week. So after 15 videos, if I'm not getting traction on stuff, then what are we doing wrong? Now, I'm also not doing that this go around because I did not do 15 videos. I didn't do 5 videos a day or a week. I did, a couple videos here and then a break and then a video there and then a break. So because I didn't have it in order, it doesn't have the same effectiveness as if I was putting it out at a consistent basis and then I wasn't getting picked up, right? So it's another thing to think about. Consistency, the speed at which you choose to do things, the amount of which you choose to do things, and then work from there. If you're gonna do 2 videos a week, I would say a month is probably pretty good testing. As long as you are uploading on the same day, it doesn't have to be the same time necessarily, but the same day, I think you'll be in that space where you can kind of judge where you're at from there. Are you getting traction? Do you have good titles? If you don't have good titles, then you might not get the traction. If you don't have a good thumbnail, you might not get the traction, right? So those are all things we can test afterwards if you're doing like a YouTube video. If you're doing like social media, like a reel, or you're doing a TikTok or something like that, then you can look at some of those metrics within that field and say, okay, like, are people actually watching for a length of time? Are they liking it? Are they, clicking off at a certain point or, scrolling through? What point do they stop? Is it just out of it's being shown to that many people and that's why you're getting the views but people aren't staying? Or is there a certain point where you like pivot or something happens or there's a pause that's too long and people get bored and they click off? So those are all things to remember. But when we have a good strategy that works, and this is not just a strategy like when we're posting and what we're posting, that's part of it. But the other parts of the strategy are, when are we getting housework done? When are we sleeping? When are we spending time with our family? When are we doing our own stuff within that category, right? So like if all you're doing is business and then you're so tired and you have no time for your family, it's going to feel probably like you are spending too much time on work. And you're going to feel like you're missing out on your family. Like everything is crazy at home. Like I don't have time to do the things I need to do, which is then going to make it harder for you to continue to put the effort in that you're doing at work because now you feel pulled in 2 different directions. So going forward, we are going to talk about a lot of different things. Let's hop over to Move Your Body and we will get into our show. Welcome to the Move Your Body section. So we're going to start out with some neck rolls, big rolls. Make sure you're breathing while you're doing this. All right, another big roll. Now we're going to go the opposite way. Big rolls. That's 2. And we're going to do 3 and 4 and 5. All right, now we're going to do shrug shoulders and drop them. Shrug your shoulders up and drop them. All right. Shrug your shoulders up. Relax. Shrug your shoulders up. Relax again. Right. One more time. All right. Now we're going to stretch up. Wiggle those fingers. Stretch up as high as you can. And down. And we're going to do that again. Stretch, 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 stretch. And down. And stretch, 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 stretch. Up, up, high, and down. All right. Stretch up one more time. And down. One last time. We're going to stretch, 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 and down. All right, now we're going to stretch up and we're going to go to the right and then to the center and then to the left and then back to the center. And we're going to repeat and go to the right and then the center and then stretch to the left and then back to the center and then down to touch your toes. Hold it there, hold it there, hold it there. All right, roll it back up. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. On to the next segment. Welcome to the Fun with Food segment. So we're talking about, CEO energy. We're talking about how your routine can help you with business. And this is one of those spaces where we're going to talk directly to you. This is about you. This is not about family, although your family can benefit if you do this. But we are talking about how we can spend the time to prepare snacks, to prepare our drinks, to prepare things so that when we are doing work, we don't have to feel like we have to stop to do those things. We can still have our lunch. We can still have a snack. We have, cold water at the ready, or whatever drinks we prefer are already stocked in a fridge, or we can just run and grab them and be done. If you work somewhere, like one of the things I really want is a home office / studio. So I want one side of it to be set up like a podcasting studio, and then I want the other side of it to be like my desk and all of my stuff, and I want a coffee maker in there, and I want a fridge in there so that I can have my drinks and, snacks and things in there, and then I don't have to leave to get those things. If you know, you know. If you are a work from home professional, right? And you leave your office, you leave your space, you break away from what you are doing to get a drink, to go to the bathroom, to get something to eat, 9 times out of 10, somebody else is going to come into your space, maybe not into your office or whatever, but come to you. I would like this. Can I have that? Can we do this? I need this. And then if you don't have really consistent clean boundaries, you might be apt to say, well, yeah, I'll make you guys a snack real fast. And you make your kids a snack. And then before you know it, 20 minutes has elapsed, which is, not the end of the world. But now when you go back, you have to get yourself back into the working mode, and that takes another 15 or 20 minutes. So now you've got an hour down. And yeah, granted, there are things like you might not have a bathroom, but I will probably do mine in like a bedroom. So I might have a bathroom in there, and in which that would be great, because then you wouldn't have to leave that area. I could shut that door. And unless there's an emergency, I am busy at the moment, and when I am done, and that way I can hold my strict boundaries on things too, right? I can say, okay, I'm working from 10 to 2. 2 o'clock I can be done because I did get to work from 10 to 2. It wasn't like I worked from 10 to 11 and then did things for other people till 11:45 and then got back in at 12:15, but then at 1 I had to stop again for something. You get my point. So the idea is, what kinds of things energize you, help you, make you feel good? This is not the time for that stuff that's comforting but puts you to sleep, right? This is the time for snacks that have, protein in it, snacks that are light, nothing that's a full meal, right? If you're going to do that, wait till after you're done with your workday. Then you can have your full meal. Have your snacks, have everything, and then you can organize it so that, you can quickly grab something too. You don't have to go through everything to try to figure out what you have. You have everything organized, it's all pretty, and that's the kind of things that we are talking about today with CEO energy. Because CEO energy is like the energy where other people are helping you out, right? You're the CEO, you run the stuff, but other people are working for you and doing the things and stuff, right? So maybe that's not possible right yet, right? Maybe you don't have 5 people working for you. Maybe you don't have 1 person, but you can set things up the way that a personal assistant would. You can have that feeling of CEO energy, and that brings another level to it too. Because if I feel like I'm taken care of while I'm doing this, I'm going to be in a better frame of mind. I'm not gonna feel as like frustrated. If I have to like go searching when I want to find something, that's gonna be harder, right? So having those things at the ready means, one, I'm not gonna get dehydrated. I am not going to not eat. I am not going to hit that blood sugar drop and then feel like I'm going to fall asleep in the middle of recording. I'm going to have my little couple of nuts or my, my cheese, my, lunch meat or whatever, and we're going to get back into it. And I'm going to have that all planned out for myself so that then I don't have to like worry or try to figure out what I'm supposed to do for lunch. And those are the kinds of things like, is it fun to do some of that stuff? Possibly. And if you really are having trouble doing it, get yourself some of those cute little like Lunchable trays. Make it fun, right? Get yourself stuff that you don't normally allow yourself to have, right? Maybe it's a lot of us that are bootstrapping this thing in business. We're like, well, I don't need that $10 bag of trail mix, so I'm not going to get it. And, I'll not have it. But what if you did that $10 bag of trail mix every week and you kept it in your desk? And that's like part of your work snack. And then you have that thing that you like, you have that thing that you want that maybe is a little fancier, is a little more expensive than you would normally spend, but it's like your reward for doing good. It's your reward for getting stuff done. All right, drop it in the comments. What are some things that we can work on to help ourselves with food and, keeping hydrated and things like that? Drop them in the comments and let's move on to the first screen. Okay, so we just talked about having snacks and things like that in where we're working at, right? Having them with us. Whether that's I keep it in my bag so that when I'm out working, doing whatever, I have it, right? Or whether that's keeping like it in the office area that you work, right? So hear me out on this one. I know this is hard and I know that not everybody has the ability. I'm falling into the category of still trying to make it work even though we don't have a dedicated space for this. But you need a home office, okay? Now, that can be something that can be set up. Okay, I use my bathroom right now as my recording studio. Here's your proof. There's the towel bars. That is your proof. I use my bathroom because it has the best lighting. It has a blank wall that I can sit behind or in front of, and it keeps most of the noise out. Again, we are trying the new mic, so I don't know how this episode is going to sound, but it did drown out a lot of the stuff when I'm in here because it's only picking up like this area in here. So that being said, I set up my stuff in here. Because it's the bathroom, I make sure everybody's like gone to the bathroom, doesn't need to go to the bathroom, and I give myself like a couple hours at a time, and then I'll take a break and let everybody know that I'm done in there for a minute, and you can get in here if you want, But this is where I'm working at for now because it's distraction free at the moment, okay? I can hear what's going on out there, but I'm not drawn to it like I would be if I was like out there, right? So I kind of can keep an ear out. I know like if something really bad is going on, I can stop and get out there, but I'm not like sucked into what's going on and, all of that. I can focus. Again, the lighting is pretty good in here. The shadows are hard sometimes, but the lighting is pretty good in here. I obviously can have, decent sound with the mics and stuff like that. So that is all a part of like why I am in this area. I have set up areas for different kinds of work though. I do have a desk, and a lot of what's on that desk is homeschool stuff. It is turned mainly into a homeschooling area, and I think it's probably going to stay that way for the most part. I have a laptop, so my laptop kind of flies with me wherever I'm at, right? And that's another thing of all of this. That being said, I feel very deeply like as long as I have a way, like, I'll be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of chairs in my house that are super comfortable, which is another reason I wanted to get one to podcast from, because I felt like that would, sometimes we have to give ourselves those little rewards, right? Like the most comfortable chair in the house is the one that you use when you're working. So at least you know when you're working, you're gonna be comfortable. And it's funny because I say it that way and it's kind of a joke, but at the same time, it's kind of true. And it makes me want to do that, right? But also when I'm editing, a lot of times my laptop is on my bed and I'm laying there with all kinds of stuff open and my notebooks, and it's craziness, but it works for the moment for what I need it for. But having a setup, and like I said, that means a lot of, it could mean having a dedicated room. It could mean having a corner of a room that's dedicated to, maybe it has a whiteboard, maybe it has a desk, maybe it has like all of your equipment, that you can easily access, right? Another thing that works really well for that is like those rolling dressers. They're like plastic dressers with the drawers. I have a couple of them for clothes at the moment. I'm gonna get another one this month so I can put all of my audio equipment, all of my stuff in there. And then I can just wheel it wherever I need to. I have an extra table wherever I need it. I can pop my laptop open if I need to do certain things. That is a space where I feel like that is going to benefit me where we're at now. And then when we move and the situation is different, which we're going to be doing at some point in the near future, then that will all be different. But for now, that will give me that, and then I can always keep the stuff in that cart wherever we go to the new place, and still have that as a storage system. So, but that's just some ideas, like having a home office, somewhere that's set up, somewhere that's maybe private, maybe semi-private, whatever you can figure out for your particular space. And like I said, even if it's just a bag where this is where my laptop sits, this is where my notebook is, this is where my calendar and everything sits, so that I constantly have this, where I can just get to everything I need, and I'm not searching over here for this and over there for that and whatever. Everything's in one spot. That helps out a ton. Again, bonus points if you have a bag or something, because I personally like to work from a coffee shop sometimes. I like to work from other spaces. And so having the ability to do that, having the ability to be able to work from other spaces is huge. And if you can grab everything real quick and take it with you wherever you're going, you're probably going to get more work done that way. Alrighty guys, leave your ideas for your home office in the comments. Let me know, do you have one? What is it like? What are we working with here? And we are going to move to the centering. Okay, so centering, we are talking about being the CEO of your life. I heard this, and I believe, not 100% positive, but I believe it was Cody Sanchez that said this, but it's like, you need to be able to make the decisions for your own life first. Like, if you are not quick to making decisions, and a lot of us as neurodivergents are not, we want to weigh everything, we want to make the best possible decision, and I understand that. I don't fully agree with the whole, you have to be able to make, snap decisions, but you do have to be able to kind of tap into your intuition and not overthink things, okay? Because we can overthink ourselves into a greater than it could be expectation, or a bottom of the barrel expectation, just from overthinking, just from grabbing different, this happened to this person, this happened to that person, what if this happens, what if that happens? And a lot of times we do not. We think the worst case scenario is going to happen, or the best case scenario, and 98% of the time it's neither. It's in the middle somewhere, and the worst thing isn't going to happen, the best thing probably isn't going to happen, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. So I guess if you really have a hard time, and this is how I used to make decisions way back in the day. I used to think of the best case and the worst case, and if the worst case was something that I could live with, I really wanted to do the thing, then okay, yeah, we'll do it. If there were things that I didn't like about the worst case, or if it was going to be really hard, or something really bad was going to happen or whatever, then a lot of times I would say no. People will go, well, that's very logical. Like, that's, being normal. It's being very logical. But I've missed out on a lot of stuff that's went really good for other people because I was thinking that the worst was going to happen because it's happened before. Because, and I've also hurt people's feelings. I've burned bridges because, well, somebody acted this way before, and so I'm just going to immediately group them in that category, right? As neurodivergent people, we have to be really careful because the pattern recognition is thick, but that doesn't always mean that it's going to happen that way. A lot of times, pattern recognition is just that. There's that saying, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So if I'm constantly thinking the worst is going to happen, maybe not the worst, but bad things are probably going to happen because I'm expecting that. That's what I'm putting out there is that, okay, yeah, probably this is going to happen. If I'm constantly thinking the best is going to happen, and I know I have those people, and I'm in that category too from long ago where it was like, but I always think the best thing, and then the worst thing ends up happening, or it doesn't work out. And I have my expectations up here, and, this is where they end up getting met, way down at the bottom, right? And then I'm upset and I'm frustrated, and I feel betrayed, or I feel like, this isn't working. But I think a lot of times it's because we're still stuck in those patterns. Like, I can say all day long that my shirt is purple. My shirt is not purple, it's pink. But I can tell you that it's purple, and if I was persuasive enough, I might be able to persuade someone that this color is actually purple, and they're seeing it as pink, and it's wrong, but it's actually purple, when it isn't. We can talk ourselves into certain things. We can say, I deserve this, I should have this, whatever, and then if it doesn't happen because we're still, it's kind of like just because we say it right in this moment doesn't mean our brain, our emotions, our vibration has caught up to that. And so if we have not caught up to that, then we're in a space where we're probably going to get some residual not working out for a minute, but we can't let that hold us back. We can't be like, okay, it's never going to work because it didn't work this time. We have to realize, okay, things are going to be residual. For a minute, it's, we're working through the bugs. It's just kind of like, have you ever turned your water on hot and you turned it off while it was still hot? And then you turn it on cold, but it's still hot for a minute before it gets cold. And so you have to let the hot water work through before the cold water can come in. And so that's kind of how we have to do with our expectations. We can have expectations and we can believe that the good things are going to happen, and we should be. But we can't let what actually happens in the moment stop us from continuing unless it is a really, unless it's the extreme cases of that, right? And in that case, I think sometimes we want things, but we don't. Perfect case. I've watched so many people traveling and doing all this traveling and living in their van or living in an RV, and I used to want that so bad. And I was like, look, they're doing it, and they're just able to go and be and do whatever. And then we went to Florida last July, and it was a long car ride. It was a long, boring, just nobody was really happy that we were driving there. And then we got there, and there was a whole night where everybody was just kind of tired and worn out and needed to get some energy out because we've been in the car all day, but also too tired to really do it. And we drove basically 2 days, so we didn't get in our first stop until 2:00 in the morning, and then we had to turn around and get up early the next day to continue to drive. And we didn't get to the hotel that night till 7 o'clock. So it was definitely a very long 2 days, and then a very long 2 days coming home. And we did a whole lot of what we would normally do at home. And that kind of sits with me in a way. It's not that I don't want to travel, I do. But I want to make travel special And I want to live in the places that make me feel happy. I want to live in Florida because I want to be able to walk out and see water, and I want to see the birds, and I want my pterodactyls. If you don't know, pterodactyls are pelicans. They look almost exactly like pterodactyls, I swear. But, like, I love that kind of stuff, right? But that doesn't mean I want to travel back and forth all the time and never be in one spot and never have, like, a home base and stuff, right? So my ideas changed, and what I really wanted was to live down there and to travel around and maybe, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks out of a year, right? Go places, fine. I have a lot of places I want to go, but I'm going for a reason. We're not going to sightsee. We're going for conventions. We're going for, activities and things that other people have planned, not just, okay, we're going to go to see this. If I'm just going to go to see something and there's not a pre-plan and there's not like an actual reason I'm going there other than I want to get the girls to all the states, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, okay, like we're going to make 2 or 3 different trips a year to visit a few states at a time. And that's what we're going to do. And that's how we're going to get to that goal. Not, I'm going to try to visit all 50 states in 1 year, or I'm going to try to visit, a third of them in a year. No. Nope. So, that being said, I have to make those decisions, right? I have to know what my intuition says. And when my intuition spoke when we were in Florida, it's like, no, this is home. Like, this is where you're supposed to be. And, and Indiana is home too. Like, they both are. They both feel very much home. That being said, I am at a space where I know now why the traveling didn't work out. I know now why that life of like, I want to live from hotel to hotel and have room service every night, and like, no, you don't. It looks good because other people make it look fun, but that's not what your body and your family's bodies are capable of. And so you're going to be miserable trying to make it look good. So that is where I want you guys to start thinking, CEO of your life. I want you to dig down deep, make the decisions you need to make for yourself, for your family, whether that's, what you're going to do about work, what you're going to do about family, what you're going to do about schooling, different things like that, right? When we can take charge of our own lives and we can make those decisions from that place of like, I'm making the best decision for myself and my family. I mean, flip side of that, it is so much easier for us to be confident in our business decisions. All right, tell me in the comments 1 or 2 areas that you are going to work on being the CEO of your own life. And let's get into the business part of this, right? All right, guys, welcome back to the 3rd ring, to the business ring. So I talked in the last ring, we were talking about calling the shots in your own life, right? Making those decisions, tapping into that intuition, really understanding what your intuition is telling you. Now we're going to talk about calling the shots in your business. I think a lot of times we see possibilities, we see opportunities, and we do a couple of different things, okay? Maybe we jump into opportunities without thinking about the cost, and then we burn ourselves out and we have to bow out of opportunities because we just can't keep up. Another way that this can look is we hyper analyze everything. Do we have enough time? Do we have the resources? Can I do it? Can I still do all of my other activities? Does this fit in? Is this? Is this that? And we get ourselves into this, like, back ourselves against the wall because, like, most opportunities have a expiration date, right? I have to know by this time, or I have to jump on this before other people pick it up and things like that. And so we will like beat around the bush, try to figure things out, and then in the end we make a hasty decision one way or the other that just doesn't feel aligned, but is like I don't have a choice, I have to jump. Right? Like I have to jump, and whether I jump and fall on the ground or jump and make it into the train car, I have to do something. So that being said, I want you to start thinking of things as, well, a couple of different ways, right? So I want you to start thinking about what does it feel like to think about this thing, okay? So I will go ahead and officially announce it. I am helping out with a nonprofit that a friend of mine is running. I still need to wait until we fully have the go ahead to really spread everything. There is a website, I will link that. It is for late diagnosed adults, obviously, neurodivergent adults who were diagnosed as adults, because a lot of times there's extra layers that come with being late diagnosed, right? So that was the person asked me and I was like, yes, hands down. Thank you so much. I'm honored that you asked me. Triple yes, thank you again. And it felt very aligned. It felt aligned in the moment. It felt aligned in the way that it happened. I didn't have to second guess it or think, I am going to have to do more. And yes, I know that. I am going to have to, put myself out there more and do more and, promote this nonprofit and stuff. I am all in. I am ready to rock and roll with this. Like I said, I didn't really want to say anything right away until I have the total go ahead to do it and stuff like that. But I have a tentative go ahead. So we're gonna jump. We're gonna do the easier to get forgiveness than permission, and I'm gonna put the website down there and stuff. And if you guys know people, I know that a lot of you guys who are watching, you guys might already, there's a lot of creators that are involved in this, so you will have a lot of different points of view and a lot of different help and a lot of different ideas and things that you might not have already had. But if you know anybody who is currently in the middle of being diagnosed or things like that, you can pass this link along, because we're trying to help people at the beginning before they get overwhelmed, before they get too frustrated, before they, get to that space, and offer that hope, offer that support up front. So that being said, I made that decision quickly. That happened, it was boom, it was done, right? I have made decisions to work with certain brands instantly. Everyday Dose. I work with Everyday Dose. I love that product. That product is my morning coffee every single morning. I love it. I cry and freak out when I'm about ready to run out because I'm I can't be without it. They are somebody that I will put my name down, right? I've been asked and I have inquired about a few. There is a energy drink company that I am looking at partnering with right now. I want to order the product. I want to try it. I kind of want my own idea on it before I really go out there, right? But energy drinks are something that is very on point for me. It's a very on-brand thing, right? And so when I was thinking about it, I'm like, this would be pretty perfect. So that's another thing that we are, possibly going to be aligning with. But I'm making those decisions from a space of, does it align with my brand? Does it align with who I am personally? Is it something I'm going to use? And then how does it feel overall, right? And when it feels like a yes, when it feels like a, well, duh, of course I'm going to do this, then we roll with it. And when it feels like it's a lot of work. It's extra work. I don't know if I can do that's a no. That's a no right there. And just listening to your body, listening to your initial thoughts on it, right? If your initial thoughts are, oh my goodness, I'm so excited I get to do this, you'll make it work. If your initial thoughts are, really, I don't know if I can fit something else into my time, then there is something else to fill that time that isn't, oh my gosh, I have to do this, right? And so that's the way that I kind of make decisions. And like I said, when you can make decisions from that space, it makes making them easier. Because if I have to think about it, it's probably going to be a no or a not right now. If I am ready to jump on it and let's go and let's do this, then okay, let's do this. Let's give it a try, right? So what are some decisions in your business that you are having trouble making, not sure what you're going to do about them? Drop them in the comments. Let me know what they are. And let's wrap this thing up. All right, guys, we made it through Thursday. Let's go. Tomorrow. We are going to celebrate the month of January. We're going to celebrate all our wins. And then we're going to start prepping for February, because when we come back, it's going to be February. I am so excited. I am so proud of the show, proud of what we are doing, proud of how we are carrying out this mission that I feel like was given to me. And I am so grateful that you are here, grateful that you are watching, grateful that you are commenting and listening and liking and doing all the things. Please do all the things. Alrighty guys, I'm Kimberly Cox, and I will see you guys tomorrow.